The planet called Zorath was quiet but not peaceful. Its surface was scarred with deep craters and broken towers that once reached the sky. The air smelled strange, mixed with dust and the faint scent of something burning far away. A team of humans wearing bright spacesuits moved carefully among the ruins. They came from Earth, sent to explore this forgotten world on the edge of the galaxy. Captain Lee led the group. She was tough and smart, with eyes that missed nothing. Behind her, the team scanned the area with their devices, looking for signs of life or anything useful. The mission was simple: find resources or information that could help Earth's growing needs. But today, something unexpected would change everything. Suddenly, a small, weak sound broke the silence. It was a soft cry, almost like a baby's. The team stopped and looked around. The sound came from behind a pile of rubble near a collapsed building. Lee signaled to the medic, Sam, to check it out. Sam moved slowly, cautious but curious. As he climbed over the stones, he saw a small shape curled up. It was not human. The creature was strange and delicate, with pale blue skin and large eyes that looked scared. Next to it stood a figure, tall and thin, with smooth silver skin and long arms that ended in gentle hands. The figure's eyes were full of worry. The alien mother stepped forward, raising her hands to show she meant no harm. Her voice was soft but urgent. "Please," she said, "save my baby. I will be yours forever." The humans looked at each other, surprised and unsure. An alien mother asking for help was not something they expected on this mission. Captain Lee spoke carefully. "Why should we trust you?" The alien's eyes shone with tears. "Because if you don't, my baby will die. And if my baby dies, so will I." Sam knelt beside the small creature. It was hurt badly. Its breathing was weak, and its eyes fluttered. The alien mother watched anxiously as Sam examined her child. "We have to take it back to the ship," Sam said. "We can try to heal it there." Captain Lee hesitated. The mission rules were clear: no unnecessary contact with aliens, especially unknown ones. But looking into the mother's pleading eyes, she felt something stronger than orders. "All right," she said. "But everyone stays alert." The team carefully carried the alien baby and its mother back to their ship. The alien's movements were slow but steady, her trust growing with each step. On the ship, Sam worked quickly in the medical bay, using advanced machines to scan the baby's injuries. The results were worrying. The baby had a serious infection and injuries from a recent attack. Without immediate care, it would not survive the night. Sam set to work, mixing alien medicine with human technology. The other team members watched silently, some still unsure about helping a stranger from another world. While Sam worked, the alien mother stayed close. She whispered softly to her baby, her voice full of love and hope. "Hold on, my child. These humans, they are different. They will save you." Captain Lee stood nearby, watching the scene unfold. She felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. This encounter could change everything they knew about the universe and humanity's place in it. Hours passed. The baby's breathing grew steadier. The infection slowed. Sam looked up, surprised. "It's working. The baby is fighting." The alien mother smiled weakly. "Thank you, humans. You have given my child a chance." That night, the team gathered in the ship's common room. The alien mother shared stories through a translator device. Her name was Nara, and her people were called the Velari. They once lived in peace but had been hunted by a powerful enemy who wanted their technology and land. "We fled," Nara said. "My baby and I escaped, but we were caught in the attack. I thought we would die alone." Captain Lee listened carefully. She realized that this was not just a mission anymore. It was a choice. Help these beings or turn away and leave them to their fate. "Why come to humans?" one of the crew asked. Nara looked at them with hope. "Because humans have something special. Courage. Kindness. You fight not just for yourselves, but for others. Please help us, Save my baby and I will help you. The team talked late into the night, weighing their options. Some were afraid of making enemies. Others believed in the promise Nara made. In the quiet moments before sleep, Captain Lee thought about what it meant to be human. Was it strength, technology, or something else? Here, in the middle of a distant galaxy, she found her answer in the small alien baby, fragile but alive because of human courage and compassion. The stars outside the ship shone brightly, and the journey ahead felt uncertain but full of hope. The ship's medical bay was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Sam worked carefully, adjusting controls and watching the alien baby's vital signs. The little creature, still weak, lay wrapped in a soft blanket that changed color to keep it warm. Every breath it took was a small victory. Outside the medical bay, the rest of the crew waited nervously. Captain Lee stood near the door, arms crossed, thinking about what had brought them here. A simple exploration mission had turned into something much bigger, a chance to save a life from a species they barely understood. Sam looked up and met Lee's eyes. The baby is stable for now, but the infection is strong. We need to act fast. Lee nodded. What do you need? Sam pointed to a small box on the table. This is a healing compound made from earth plants. It should help, but the baby's biology is very different. We may have to adjust the dose carefully. Nara, the alien mother, stood quietly nearby. She watched Sam with hope in her eyes, but also fear. Is my baby going to live? She asked, softly. Sam gave a small smile. I'm doing everything I can. The healing compound was a mix of science and chance. Sam carefully prepared an injection, then gently administered it to the baby. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the baby's breathing grew a little stronger and the color returned to its pale blue skin. Relief washed over Nara's face. She touched her baby gently, whispering words that no one else understood. The team stayed alert. They knew the danger was not over. The empire that hunted Nara's people was still out there, and now they might come looking for her, and the baby. Captain Lee called a meeting in the ship's command room. The humans gathered around a holographic map of the galaxy. Nara pointed to a red dot on a distant star system. That is where my people hide. But it is far, and the Empire controls the space between. One of the crew, a young pilot named Aaron, frowned. If we help you, we might make powerful enemies. Nara nodded. Yes, but if you do not help, this child will die and my people will lose hope. Lee looked around the room. The team was tired, scared, but also determined. They had seen what humans could do when they worked together. Saving this baby was more than a mission. It was a chance to show what humanity truly meant. Then we help, Lee said finally. We'll take you and your baby to the safe zone. But we must be careful. We don't know how many enemies might be waiting. The ship prepared to leave the planet. Nara stayed close to her baby, who was now resting, quietly. The crew worked quickly, checking weapons and shields. Everyone felt the weight of the journey ahead. As the engines powered up, the ship lifted from the dusty ground. The planet below grew smaller through the window. The stars stretched out before them, endless and full of unknown dangers. During the long flight, Nara told more about her people. The Velari were once a proud and peaceful race. They lived in harmony with nature and had great knowledge of technology that could change worlds. But the Empire wanted that power for themselves and had destroyed many Velari homes. The Empire is cruel, Nara said quietly. They take what they want and leave nothing behind. The crew listened, learning about a war far beyond their galaxy. They felt a growing respect for the Velari and a strong desire to protect them. Sam spent hours in the medical bay with the baby. He tested different treatments and watched the creature's small movements. Slowly, the baby grew stronger. It opened its large eyes once, looking at Sam with a quiet trust. One night, Lee visited the medical bay. She saw Nara holding her baby gently. "How is he?" she asked. "Better," Nara replied. "Thank you, humans. You have saved my child's life." Lee smiled. "We're glad to help. Your baby is strong." Nara looked up, her eyes shining with gratitude. I will never forget this. But not everyone was sure they had made the right choice. Some crew members whispered about danger and betrayal. They feared the Empire's power and wondered if humans were ready for such a fight. Lee understood their worry, but believed in her team's strength. We are human, she said quietly. We fight for what is right. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. Days passed as the ship traveled through space. The baby grew, and so did the bond between the humans and the alien mother. They shared stories and learned from each other. The crew's fear slowly turned into hope. Then, one evening, the ship's sensors beeped loudly. An alert flashed on the control panel. Incoming ships, Aaron said, his voice tense. Lee rushed to the bridge. Outside, dark shapes appeared in the distance, fast, armed vessels moving toward them. The Empire had found them. Prepare for defense, Lee ordered. We protect Nara and her baby at all costs. The ship's crew worked quickly, readying weapons and shields. The tension in the air was thick. The mission to save a baby had become a fight for survival. As the enemy ships closed in, Lee stood firm. She looked at Nari, and her baby in the medical bay. We will not let them win, she said quietly. The battle was about to begin. The alarm blared through the ship as enemy vessels closed in fast. Captain Lee stood firmly on the bridge, her hands gripping the railing. Her crew moved with practiced speed, preparing the ship's defenses. Outside the thick windows, dark shapes moved like shadows against the stars. This isn't going to be easy, Aaron said, his eyes fixed on the incoming ships. They're faster and better armed. Lee nodded. But we have something they don't, our will to protect. Below in the medical bay, Nara held her baby close, feeling the small heartbeat steady against her chest. She glanced up when Sam entered. Is it safe? She asked. Sam gave a reassuring smile. We'll do everything we can. The baby's eyes opened briefly, looking at Sam with curiosity. Despite the danger, hope glimmered in that small gaze. Back, on the bridge, Lee gave orders. Deploy shields and prepare the laser turrets. We can't outrun them, so we have to stand and fight. The ship trembled as the first shots hit their shields. Sparks flew and the crew felt the power of the attack. The enemy was relentless, pushing hard to break through. Aaron maneuvered the ship skillfully, dodging some blasts, but the attackers pressed on. The battle felt endless, each moment a test of courage and skill. Captain, enemy boarding ships. Detected, a crew member warned. Lee's eyes narrowed. Prepare for boarding defense. Everyone to their stations. In the medical bay, Nara's face tightened with fear. She whispered to her baby, Stay strong. We will survive. Suddenly, the ship shook violently as boarding ships attached themselves to the hull. The crew moved quickly to stop the invaders, fighting with determination. The boarding party was well trained, but the humans and their alien guest fought with a strength born of desperation. Sam stood beside Nara, shielding her and the baby. Outside, the chaos, Lee led a team to push back the invaders. Every step forward was a small victory. As the battle raged, Lee saw something unexpected. The alien mother did not hide or flee. Instead, she stood tall beside the humans, her calm strength inspiring those around her. Your species has courage, Nara said quietly to Sam during a brief pause in the fighting. It reminds me of my own people. Sam nodded. We protect those we care about, no matter who they are. That simple truth echoed through the ship. In the heat of battle, differences faded. Humans and Valari fought side by side, united by a common goal. Finally, the enemy boarding ships were driven away. The remaining vessels retreated into space, leaving the ship battered but alive. The crew cheered quietly, relief washing over them. Lee looked at Nara and the baby, grateful they had survived. Later, in the ship's common room, the team gathered to recover. The wounds were many, but so was their spirit. Nara spoke softly. You risked your lives for me and my child. I will never forget this kindness, Captain Lee smiled. We are stronger together. Your fight is our fight now. The crew listened as Nara told more about the Valari and their history. She spoke of their home world, full of forests and rivers, now lost to war. Her words painted pictures of beauty and sorrow. "We are not so different," Lee said thoughtfully. "We all want peace and safety." The baby stirred, reaching out with tiny hands. Everyone in the room felt a quiet hope, a new beginning born from shared struggle. Days passed and the bond between humans and Valari grew deeper. The baby, now named Leary by the crew, became a symbol of unity. Sam continued his care, amazed at the child's resilience. Nara taught the humans about her culture and technology, sharing knowledge that could help both their worlds. In return, the humans showed her their own ways, bridging gaps with simple acts of friendship. One evening, Lee stood with Nara by the observation window. Stars stretched endlessly before them. "Thank you for trusting us," Lee said. Nara smiled, softly. "And thank you for saving my baby. I believe this is only the beginning." They looked out into space together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The battle had been won, but the war for peace and survival was just beginning. In that moment, the true power of humanity shone, not in weapons or ships, but in the courage to stand for what is right, and the strength to protect those in need. The ship sailed quietly through the stars after the fierce battle. The crew was tired but proud. They had fought hard to protect Nara and her baby, Leary. For many, the victory was more than just survival. It was proof that humans could stand against any threat when they stood together. Captain Lee sat in her quarters, thinking deeply. The fight had been difficult, but it had also opened a door. Nara had offered help in return for their protection. The alien mother's words echoed in Lee's mind. "Save my baby, and I will be yours forever." Lee wondered what that meant exactly. Was it just gratitude or something more? The next day, Nara requested a private meeting with the captain and several senior crew members. The room was small but filled with an air of hope and cautious trust. Nara began carefully. "My people have much to offer. Our technology, our knowledge, things that could help humans grow stronger and safer." One of the crew, a scientist named Dr. Reynolds, leaned forward with interest. "What kind of technology?" Nara's eyes shone with quiet pride. "Energy sources that last longer and are cleaner, medical tools that can heal faster, and information about the Empire's weaknesses." The crew exchanged glances. Such knowledge would be valuable, but it came with risks. Lee asked the most important question. "What do you want in return?" Nara's expression grew serious. "Your protection, your friendship, my loyalty, forever." The word loyalty hung in the air. It was a strong promise, binding and deep. The humans knew this was more than a simple deal, it was a partnership. "But how can we be sure?" asked Aaron, the pilot. "How do we know you won't turn against us?" Nara looked down for a moment, then back up. "I have nothing to hide. If I betray you, I lose everything. My people, my baby, my hope." Captain Lee considered the offer carefully. Helping Nara and her people could change the course of human history. It could bring great benefits, but also great danger. She finally spoke. "We will protect you, but this partnership must be built on trust. We will watch each other closely." Nara nodded, accepting the terms. "That is fair." Over the following days, the crew began working with Nara to learn about her technology. The ship's engineers were amazed by the new energy devices that needed less fuel and produced less waste. The medical team studied her healing methods, which combined with human science could save many lives. At night, Lee and Nara talked more, sharing stories of their worlds and dreams. Nara told of Valari's peaceful forests and bright skies before the Empire's attacks. Lee spoke of Earth's struggles and hopes for the future. Their friendship grew quietly but surely. Yet not everyone on the ship was happy. Some crew members worried about the risks of such a close bond. They whispered in corners, questioning Nara's true intentions. One night Sam found Lee in the hallway looking troubled. "They don't trust her," Sam said softly. "Some think we're playing with fire." Lee sighed. "I understand their fear, but we can't close ourselves off. That's not who we are." Sam nodded. "You're right. This is what makes humans different. We don't give up on others, even when it's hard." Days later, the ship received a message from Earth Command. They ordered the crew to return and report everything about the encounter. There were concerns about possible threats from the Empire and the danger of helping an alien species. Captain Lee faced a difficult decision. Should they follow orders and leave Nara to face her enemies alone? Or should they stay and honor their promise? She called a meeting. "We made a promise to protect Nara and her baby. We cannot break that now. Our mission is more than orders. It is about doing what is right." The crew agreed, ready to face the consequences together. Nara was grateful and promised to share all her knowledge to help humans grow stronger. "Together we can build a future where no one has to run or hide." But just as hope grew, the ship's sensors detected a warning signal. A fleet from the Empire was approaching. They had not forgotten the Valari mother and her child. The crew prepared once again for battle. But this time they were not alone. With Nara's help, they developed new strategies and used her technology to strengthen their defenses. As the enemy ships closed in, Captain Lee stood on the bridge, feeling the weight of responsibility. But she also felt hope. Hope born from trust, courage, and the bond between humans and Valari. "We fight not just for ourselves," she said quietly, "but for a future where all life can be safe. The battle ahead would be the hardest yet." But humanity's true strength was not in their weapons but in their hearts, and that strength would guide them through the dark. The warning alarms rang sharply through the ship. The enemy fleet was closing fast. Captain Lee stood firm on the bridge, her gaze steady as she studied the dark shapes on the sensors. The Empire's ships moved with purpose, powerful, numerous, and dangerous. "Shields at maximum," Lee ordered. "All weapons ready. We must protect Nara and her baby at all costs." The crew worked quickly, their hands moving over controls with practiced skill. Every second counted. Outside the windows, stars seemed to blur as the enemy ships moved closer, their weapons glowing ominously. Nara stood beside Lee, her eyes calm but full of worry. "This Empire is relentless. They do not stop until they have what they want." Lee nodded. "We won't let them take your people or your chi." Older. The first wave of enemy fire struck the ship's shields. The ship trembled under the blast, but the shields held. The crew felt the power of the attack ripple through the ship. "Return fire," Lee commanded. The ship's turrets launched, beams of light into space hitting the enemy ships. Explosions lit up the darkness as several enemy fighters were destroyed. But there were too many, and the battle was far from over. In the medical bay, Sam watched over baby Leary, whose small chest rose and fell steadily. The child's eyes were open, watching the flashing lights outside the window. Despite the danger, there was a quiet strength in that tiny life. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. A direct hit breached the outer hull. The emergency lights flickered on. Lee's voice was calm but urgent. "Damage report." "Life support is stable," a crew member reported, "but several systems are offline." The battle grew more intense. Enemy ships fired missiles that zipped past the ship's defenses. The humans fought with all they had, but the enemy's power was overwhelming. "Captain, boarding ships detected again," Aaron warned. Lee's jaw tightened. "Prepare to defend." The crew took their positions as enemy fighters attached themselves to the hull. The corridors filled with sounds of fighting, shouts, the clashing of weapons, the hum of energy blasts. Lee led a team to the main corridor, ready to repel the attackers. The battle was close and fierce. Every step forward was hard won. Back in the medical bay, Nara stood protectively in front of Leary. Sam joined her, keeping watch for any signs of danger. The fight showed no signs of ending, but the humans and their alien allies did not give up. They pushed back, using every skill and tactic they knew. During a brief pause, Lee and Nara found a quiet moment. "Your people's technology helped us hold the line," Lee said. "Thank you." Nara smiled. softly. Your courage is what truly saved us. The baby cooed quietly, a small sound that brought hope even in the darkest hour. Hours passed. The enemy fleet began to withdraw, their ships damaged and scattered. The humans and Valari had won this battle, but they knew the war was not over. The crew gathered in the common room, exhausted but proud. Lee addressed them with quiet strength. We protected what matters most today. This fight is far from over, but together we can face anything. Nara looked around the room. Your strength gives my people hope. We will rebuild and fight for peace. The baby reached out, touching the hands of those around. It was a simple moment, but it meant everything. In the days that followed, the crew repaired the ship and tended to their wounds. Sam worked with Nara to improve the baby's health, combining their knowledge for better results. Lee and Nara planned their next move. The safe zone was still far away, and the Empire would return. But now, the humans and Valari were not just survivors. They were a team. We will keep fighting, Lee said. For peace, for hope, for the future. Nara nodded. And for the child who represents all we stand for. As the stars passed by outside the ship's windows, the crew prepared for whatever came next. The galaxy was wide and dangerous, but humanity's light burned bright, a beacon of courage and kindness in the darkness. The days after the battle felt heavy, but hopeful. The ship, though battered, sailed steadily through the quiet reaches of space. Captain Lee stood on the bridge watching the stars glide past, but her thoughts were with the future, uncertain yet full of promise. Nara joined her, holding baby Leary close. The child's bright eyes looked curiously at the stars, and the small hands reached out toward the glowing lights on the control panel. Our journey is long, Nara said softly, but together, we can reach safety. Lee smiled. And more than that, we can build something new, not just for your people but for all of us. The crew gathered in the common room that evening. The air was filled with a quiet excitement. After days of tension, they now spoke openly about what the future might hold. Dr. Reynolds presented a plan. With the technology Nara shared, we can improve our defenses and medicine, but we need to learn more about the Empire and how to stop them. Aaron nodded. We've seen their strength. To face them, we need allies. Nara spoke next. My people are scattered but not gone. Others survive. If we find them, we can join forces. Captain Lee looked around at her team. Then that is our mission. Find the Valari, protect them, and build an alliance strong enough to stand against the Empire. The crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was no longer just a rescue or a fight for survival. It was the beginning of a partnership between humans and Valari, united by hope and courage. Sam spent much of his time with Leary. The baby had grown stronger, responding to touch and sound. Sam marveled at the resilience of life, no matter the form. One evening, Sam found Nara watching the stars quietly. Do you miss your home? He asked gently. Nara nodded. Every day, but I believe we can create a new home, a better one. Lee joined them. Your hope is what drives us all. As the ship continued its journey, Nara shared more about Valari culture. Their art, their music, and their respect for nature inspired the humans. It was a reminder that beyond war and fear, life was about connection and beauty. The alliance deepened as humans and Valari worked side by side. Engineers adapted alien technology to improve the ship. Medics learned new healing techniques. Soldiers trained together, preparing for future battles. Then, the ship's sensors detected a small Valari scout ship nearby. Excitement spread quickly. Nara said, "This could be the start of finding more of my people." Lee ordered the ship to approach carefully. The scout ship was damaged but intact. Its pilot, a Valari named Tira, greeted them with relief and gratitude. I have been searching for help, Tira said. The Empire grows stronger. We must unite. The meeting was warm but cautious. Tira brought news of other survivors and hidden safe zones. The Valari were scattered, but their spirit was not broken. Together, the humans and Valari planned their next moves. They would find more survivors and build a network of allies across the stars. As they worked, Lee realized that this alliance was more than a strategy. It was a symbol, a proof that different species could come together, share their strengths, and create a future better than their past. One night, Lee and Nara stood again by the observation window. "Thank you," Nara said softly. "For everything." Lee smiled. "We owe you that and more. This is just the beginning." Outside, the stars shone bright, lighting the path ahead, and with every step, humanity's light grew stronger, guiding them through darkness and toward a new dawn. The ship sailed through the vastness of space, carrying with it hope and determination. Captain Lee stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the glowing stars ahead. Around her, the crew moved with purpose, their faces showing a mix of tiredness and quiet pride. They had come far, faced great danger, and forged a bond that could change the course of history. Nara held baby Leary gently, the child now healthy and strong. The little one's eyes sparkled with curiosity, a living symbol of survival and unity. The alien mother smiled softly, feeling a deep gratitude toward these humans who had risked everything to save her child and her people. As the ship approached a new star system, Nara and Lee prepared to meet other survivors of the Valari. These hidden groups had lived in fear for many years, scattered and isolated. But now, with the humans' help, they could come together. In the meeting room, representatives of both species gathered. The Valari spoke with hope in their voices, sharing stories of loss and resilience. The humans listened, offering friendship and support. "This is a new beginning," Lee said, her voice steady. "Together we will rebuild what was lost. Together we will face any challenge." The alliance formed that day was strong and true. Humans and Valari worked side by side, sharing knowledge and resources. The Valari's advanced technology, combined with human creativity and courage, created powerful new tools for defense and healing. One of the engineers showed Lee a device that could protect entire planets from attack. The crew marveled at the possibilities. Peace seemed closer than ever before. But the Empire was not gone. It still threatened the galaxy, spreading fear and destruction. The Alliance knew their fight was not over. Yet, they also knew they were no longer alone. Nara's words stayed with Lee. Courage and kindness can change the darkest night. As the months passed, the Alliance grew stronger. Valari children played alongside human children. Songs and stories were shared. Differences became strengths. On one bright morning, Lee stood with Nara on a hill overlooking a peaceful valley on the Valari home planet, restored slowly by their efforts. The air smelled sweet, and the sun warmed their faces. "We did it," Lee said quietly. Nara nodded, tears in her eyes. "Because of you. Because of all of us." Leary, now toddling beside them, laughed happily. The baby's joy was a reminder of what they fought for, a future where all life could thrive. Lee smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. Humanity's role was clear, not just explorers or fighters, but protectors and friends. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and wonders. But with courage, kindness, and unity, anything was possible. As the sun set behind the hills, Lee looked up at the sky. The stars shone brightly, promising new adventures and new hope. A new dawn had come,